Hi, it's Justina here from Flight of the Phoenix Holistic Therapy. Today, I wanted to talk about guilt and shame. These two feelings are often very close to anyone who experience childhood trauma or young adulthood trauma. Um, like myself, I obviously my brain works a little bit different based on the experiences I had as a child. Um, and anytime as a child I have engaged in behavior that was not approved by um, society, by my peers, my parents, my siblings, I would be shamed for it, embarrassed. I feel embarrassed. And I guess as Brené Brown says, the guilt is more related to the behavior. So we're feeling guilty for doing something. Um, let's say for spilling water on the floor by mistake, or um, by running too fast and hurting ourselves. Shame is more related to what we think about ourselves, our worth, our identity. And I guess as a trauma survivor, or whoever who experienced trauma, I can say that I did believe that based on some of my choices or behaviors, there was fundamentally something wrong with me, that I was unworthy of love. That clearly I was a bad person. My behavior wasn't right. I was acting out of order. Um, there was a lot of judgment and pointing fingers of what I'm doing wrong and not so much what I'm doing right. And if you are around in that kind of upbringing or environment, um, you're gonna believe what people say about you, that you are bad, um, that you are black sheep of the family, or that it's your fault. Um, so anytime you focus as you're growing and you focus your attention on those uh, negative um, emotions and the feedback from the environment, you kind of don't see the good things because your brain just focuses on negativity, and um, it constantly gives you proof that you are not worthy, that you are a failure, and that you should be ashamed of yourself. Um, so this feelings and those experiences is something that I'm constantly working on. It takes a conscious effort to believe different. It's much easier, as I always say, to engage in a downward spiral of negativity, of sadness, and kind of start rebelling and showing, well, if you do think of me this way, let me show you how bad I can be. So just as an example, I've been in quite karmic relationship in my 20s. I will call it karmic because I learned many lessons from it. And as we hear often, nothing is wasted if perception is gained. So I'm very grateful for that relationship because it taught me lessons, but it was a um, quite a ride, let me tell you that. Anyway, the point is I became the person taught me to be afterwards when I left that relationship. I was acting out. I went very primal and very low. Got involved in many toxic behaviors. That were involving alcohol. Not that I was an alcoholic, but I needed people around me. I needed to socialize. Socialize. I felt lonely, and alcohol was giving me courage to acting the way I was acting. very cocky, very confident. And yeah, afterwards, my friends would tell me that, I don't know who you are anymore, Justina. And it was hard to hear. Obviously, I would feel ashamed of myself. I would feel, what the hell is wrong with me? Why am I this way? And that would continue in my life, even though I would start healing and getting and making better choices and better decisions, and find myself in healthier relationships. I would still have those acting out moments. Because as I said, it's so much easier to be toxic and to destroy things than build them and create them. And then I would ask myself, you have such a good life now. You worked so hard for it. What is wrong with you? Why are you still having those thoughts? Why you still want to act out? Why can't you just appreciate and be grateful for the stuff you have, for the people that surround you? And there's a lot of blaming, shaming, and becoming that person that other people were to you when you were growing up. So basically, the voice in my head is not obviously me, it's the voices of my maybe mother, of some colleague, of my ex-boyfriends. Whatever I've done wrong, it's an experience that I store in my head, and I learned from. And it has a positive and negative aspects. You learn from it, but also you remember the pain. Um, so I guess where I'm going with it is, um, it's still work in progress, and it takes effort to every day choose the positive action rather than focus on negative, and that I'm worthless, and my behavior is bad. It's good to focus on things that you do well. So what are your values? Are you living your life according to your values? um, Starting to learning about yourself, meditating, connecting to your inner child, and what your child, yourself, that wounded warrior inside, what do they need right now, and listen. And it sounds cheesy and funny when you're trying to talk to yourself, but we often find ourselves in a big wild world as adults, but inside we still children. I think there is a saying that we all um, children in adult bodies or something like that. We often don't know what we're doing. We're just trying our best and learning on the way. And we need to nurture that little human inside of us, that and reparent at that person inside of us, and keep check with that person. And you can do that via meditation, you can do it via self-talk, you can look in a mirror and talk to yourself. You can write yourself a letter. What are my needs? What are my values? What do I really want? And what would I want my life to be? How I want to perceive the world, how I want to be perceived. Asking yourself those questions, and implementing daily routines where you can become more present. Meditation is very important. And there are different types of meditation. Meditation doesn't mean you have to sit still and just stare at the wall, close your eyes, and pretend that the thoughts don't exist. If you have hyper um, sensitive brain like mine, it's unstoppable. It's a constant stream of thoughts, often destructive. Uh, I think, like this guy said from Linkin Park, this is a bad neighborhood inside of my head. It's somewhere where you don't want to be often, and you need to work on that mindset. And it takes effort, building a habit, which I'm sure we'll be talking about in the future, building a habit and routine because this is good for your healing. Um, the more you choose positive action, positive thought, the more it will stick. And you will be able to recognize that you are not the feeling of shame. You don't have to be embarrassed. Everybody has right to fail in life. If you fail, you learn. That's the purpose of it. You didn't really fail. You just made a mistake. You acquired new information. Aha, I'm not gonna do this again. And let me try a different way. That's how we learn. Nobody expects from a toddler to learn how to walk and to know straight away how to walk. Everybody understands that to learn a new skill, new activity, it takes time. It takes trial and error, or whatever the saying is or phrase. Um, and that's how we should look or view our life. That we have the right to make mistakes, and it doesn't mean that we're worthless. We are worthy by default. We are born worthy. We are born to be valued, to be loved. And sometimes our experience doesn't reflect that, but it doesn't mean it's going to last forever. The only certain thing in life is change. Nothing is permanent. So even if you feel shame right now, connect with it, feel it, write why you possibly might be feeling it, read what you've written. Does it make sense? Is it really true? Does your reasonable mind believe in this? Do you have examples, tangible examples of your behaviors or actions that would suggest that you have something to be ashamed of? And if there is, that's fine. You can reevaluate, change your behavior. But at the end, we all have ability to take our power back, to reframe our stories, to rewrite the stories that we tell ourselves, and start speaking like we would speak to the friend that we want to support. So, yeah, I guess this is the message. Talk to yourself like you would talk to a person that you really love. Because rarely we do that. We mostly attack ourselves, and that we're not good at enough. I mean, I'm not saying all of us, people who went through um, um, life experiences that made them feel like they're nothing. Um, yeah, and I guess, yeah, if you've been taught long enough that you're nothing, you're gonna be nothing till you have that strength, courage, to dig into your own stuff, to feel it, to face it head on, and start working on it. Because really, the work is yours. Nobody gonna do it for you. Nobody gonna give you magic pill. No amounts of books that you can read will do anything till you actually take positive action in the direction of healing. And it's a slow and steady process. It's one step at a time, and sometimes you go backwards and question yourself and question again your worth and thinking, what is wrong with me again? And it's okay, you sometimes go in little circles, little spirals. But that's what I kind of sometimes say on my session with one of my clients, that in my view, life is like a pyramid. Um, and we all trying to get to the top, and we all thinking we're gonna shoot up all the way from the bottom to the top. But it is a spiral. We're trying to go around the pyramid to get to the top, slowly gaining different perspectives from different sides, different point of views, learning, experiencing, failing, and then going all the way up. And that up, that success means different things for different people. For me, ultimately, I want to have freedom. For me, freedom is the most important thing. Again, freedom can be defined as many things. It can be financial freedom, it can be being single, it can be having ability to travel the world and live in different countries. So it's just defining what are you aiming at, um, finding ways to get there, and on the way while you get there, healing from the experiences that might have broken you a little bit. Um, but they are there for a reason. They made you who you are today. And if you one day can see and forgive yourself, and embrace that shame as a feeling, you will realize that you're a better person for it. That this was your life, that this is what you've experienced. That's how you reevaluate what you need, what you want, what your goals are. And you can change your mind along the way. You can decide, I don't like this pyramid, I'm gonna go to different one. And it's totally fine. It's your life. Never forget that you have the power to change, to live, to make decisions that suit you. You're not responsible for anyone else but yourself. I hope this helps. Have a good one. Bye bye.